I think everybody got a bit shocked when it shut down, but I don't know. I feel like people also had a forced rest, and film is known for being no rest, right?
Yeah. I wish I could say we in the insurance world got that same rest during the stay-at-home orders, but instead, I think we were hit with 45 claims on day one of the stay-at-home orders.
And are those claims like, again, you can stay confidential, but generally, what kind of claims are those?
We didn't see a lot of claims coming from your cast and crew getting sick. Most of the claims that we received were under coverage in the entertainment package called civil authority, which in itself is not that unique of a coverage. It's included on most standard business insurance policies. However, the way the coverage reacts is slightly different in the film world. And pre-March of 2020, there was no exclusions under our entertainment package policies, specifically for the civil authority for communicable disease. I mean, believe me, by April 2020, every film policy had an absolute COVID communicable disease exclusion. But pre-2020, nothing like this had ever happened. So our policies, at least any policy that was purchased prior to March 2020 had coverage for COVID. I mean, there's only a few ways the policy could be triggered, but the main one was this coverage called civil authority, which in a nutshell gets triggered when a government entity or authority, so police, fire department, or any sort of government power doesn't allow you to gain access to your location as a result of something having nothing to do with the production. And, they essentially revoke your permit or bar your access to a location. And so the stay-at-home orders where you couldn't gather what it was, 10, then 7, then 3 people, how are you going to film?
Right.
You'll be breaking the law if you gathered, your entire cast and crew. So that's what triggered all of these claims at that time. April 2020, COVID became an exclusion on every new policy that was taken out for any new film. So, we scrambled around to try to find a solution to cover COVID related losses because no matter what, especially at the beginning, if films were able to restart, which they did in June, their chance of one of their main actors or actresses getting COVID were pretty high. And also, we still face the threat of new stay-at-home orders. I mean, we didn't have too many in BC, but we did see in Quebec and Toronto, they did impose additional new stay-at-home orders that would have triggered another civil authority had that coverage still been available at the time.
Right. Yeah.
So in Canada, they did come out with that Telefilm Canadian Media Fund program, which was designed to basically put back in coverage for cast and civil authority in the event that they had a shutdown related to COVID. But in order to qualify for that, you had to be considered Canadian content, which, unfortunately, not all Canadian projects are.
Minimal at best, right?
Exactly. But we were able to come up with a few solutions. They were fairly pricey and, they didn't work for every movie, but on the larger independents and the TV series, it was, a real gift to be able to have some protection there if you did have another shutdown related to COVID.
Do you still lose sleep about COVID with insurance and claims? Or is it a new reality you've sort of adapted to now?
You know what? At this point, no one is really insuring against COVID. I think people have become pretty comfortable with the risk.
Yeah.
A lot of productions build into their contingency fund to, if they have to shut down for a day or two, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So I don't really live in the fear that I'm going to get a call that, we have a brand new claim. But I will say for the first 6-8 months, dealing with the claims that were already submitted, it was one of the more stressful periods of my career, if not the most stressful period, because every single one of those claims requires a true forensic accounting of the productions, having to prove what their additional costs are above and beyond the budget. It's not just you shut down, each day was $100,000, here's your money.
Right.
You have to prove your overages and how much that shutdown really cost you in addition to what you had originally budgeted.
Well, because even if you think about like launch date, right, and your promotional and your box office misses and all of those future gains that you missed by being delayed, right?
Yeah, that part's uninsurable. But
Oh, good to know.
yeah, no, we only insure the actual production costs. We don't insure the promotion or delivery of the production.